Hi everyone, this is Algebra 2, Lesson 62, and in this lesson we're going to cover complex roots of quadratic equations. Now these are just like the quadratic equations that we've been solving by completing the square, but it'll just be a little bit different at the end because we're going to come up with a negative number. Alright, so we'll solve this first one. First thing we need to do is rearrange the equation. So we're going to take this 5 and move it to the other side. Oh, that looks terrible. Okay, let's see if I can get a straight line here. There we go. So I'm going to go ahead and write that squared term first. So 3x squared minus x equals negative 5. All right, now I'm going to divide every term by 3. So I'm going to get x squared equals negative 1/3 x, not equals, minus 1/3 x equals negative 5/3. Okay, now to solve these, we're going to take this x term and we're going to multiply it times 1/2. So negative 1/3 times 1/2, and that's going to be negative 1/6. And then we square it, so we multiply it times itself, and we get 1/36. And then we're going to add that to both sides. Whoops. Okay, so we're going to end up with x squared minus 1/3 x plus 1/36 equals, all right, now I got to change this to 36, so 3 times 12 makes 36, so 5 times 12 will be 60, and then that's negative, this is positive, so negative 59/36. All right, now this we can factor that into x minus, it's always going to be this term right here, the one that you did 1/2, so 1/6 equals 59/36, and that's squared. So if we said 1/6 plus 1/6, we'd get 1/3. 1/6 times 1/6, we'd get 1/36. Okay, now we're going to pull the square root of that, so we would get x minus 1/6 equals, and that's negative, the square root of a negative 59/36. Now, we can't pull a negative square root, so what we have to do is we got to change this into the square root of 59/36i. Okay, that gets rid of our negative. So our answer would be x minus 1/6 equals the square root, square root of 59 over square root of 36 would be 6i, and now we just have to get rid of that negative 1/6. So if I've got, you rewrite it, and that I is being multiplied by both of those terms. All right, so now we just add 1/6, and we get x equals 1/6 plus or minus the square root of 59/6i. And there's the answer. So just like we've been doing with completing the square, but these you have to, when you have a negative, you've got to use Euler's notation there. Euler's notation, however you say it. All right, let's try another one. All right, so first I am going to rearrange. So I've got 5x squared minus 2x equals negative 3. Now I'm going to divide everything by 5. I get x squared minus 2/5x equals negative 3/5. Now I'm going to take my x term and multiply it by 1/2. So negative 2/5 times 1/2 equals negative 1/5. Then I'm going to square that. 1/25. So I'm going to add this. 1 over 25 on both sides. X squared minus 2 over 5x plus 1 over 25 equals, okay, so I gotta change this into 25ths. 5 times 5, 3 times 5 is 15, and that's negative 15 and positive 1, so that'd be negative 14 over 25. Okay, now I can factor that, so I've got x minus, and it's going to be this term right here, 1/5. So 1/5 plus 1/5 makes 2/5. 1/5 times 1/5 makes 1/25. And that's squared. Okay, now we got to pull the square root, so x minus 1/5 equals the square root of 14 over 25. And that's negative 14 over 25, so then we're going to use I to represent that, so x minus 1/5 equals the square root of 14 over 5i, and then we just add 1/5, and we're going to get x equals 1/5 plus or minus the square root of 14 over 5i. Alright, so just like we've been doing them, except we have to change that to I over there to get rid of the square root of negative 1. Alright, go ahead and work there's only one practice problem. Go ahead and work that, pause the video, and then I'll come back and work it for you. Alright, so this is just like the ones that I did in the examples. Alright, so I've got to rearrange this first. Okay, so then I'm going to do divided by 5. X squared minus 1/5 x equals negative 3 over 5. Now I'm going to do negative 1/5 times 1/2. 1/10, and then I'm going to square that. Okay, and then I'm going to add that to these. I got to multiply that times 20. So 20 times 3, 2360 over 100. And I'm going to get x squared minus 1/5 x plus 1 over 100 equals, and that's negative and that's positive, so that'll be negative 59 over 100. Alright, and then I'm going to factor this. So I've got an x, and then it's going to be my middle term right here, so minus 1/10. 1/10 plus 1/10 would make 1/5. 1/10 times 1/10 would make 100. That's squared. Negative 59 over 100. Alright, and then square root that. Okay, now we're going to change that to I, so if we multiplied it times negative 1, square root of negative 1, that I would pull out of there, so now we've got x minus 1/10 equals the square root of 59 over 10i, and then we're just going to add 1/10. And our answer is going to be x equals 1/10 plus or minus the square root of 59 over 10i. So that's pretty simple. It's just like we've been doing, except for we're incorporating Euler's notation into there. All right, that's it for lesson 62.